Alright guys, welcome back to the Let Out episode 4. It's Marguerite and Bree.
What's up?
Alright guys, so how did y'all like the last episode we did? We had some guests on it. Today we don't have any guest speakers, but we're really touching some topics, like some broad topics today. We were going to have a guest speaker, but that didn't follow through, so we're just going to keep going like we planned. But Bree, why don't you tell everybody what you've been up to? How you been doing, girl?
I've been living.
For all of our Springfield people or people in the Western Mass, I haven't got to check out the casino yet, MGM, but Bree did over the weekend. I heard it was really small.
It is. I mean, it is really small. It's cool, I guess, for something to do, but it's like, it's not what they all hyped it up to be.
Yeah.
In my opinion. But
I heard there was just one floor to
it's
this casino.
It's literally like one room.
Oh wow.
That's it. But I mean
they added something to the city, so
yeah, I mean it's something to do, especially like on the weekends once you get out the club. It's like if you don't want to go home, it's somewhere to go. But
yeah. I hear. Alright guys, well, like I said, it's the Let Out episode 4. Today we're going to be touching base on the black market. So real quick, I want y'all to pause this and comment down below what you guys know about the black market, because I really didn't know much until Bree actually was getting me into watching documentaries, and we were sitting here planning one night like different videos for you guys and podcast ideas. And I don't know, I just went on Netflix and watched this like documentary. I'm going to link it below. But it was dope. It was this girl, she traveled the world and she was just getting into like different black markets. So like, I don't know, Bree, when you think of the black market, because you said you watch stuff on it too.
I mean, the black market's like, there's a lot to it because there's a lot of different areas in black market.
Yeah, there is.
Whether you want to buy organs,
yes,
if you want to buy children, if you want to buy sex workers, if you want to buy guns, drugs, like it's a lot of different things that you could buy on the black market. So it's like, it's a lot to it. Honestly.
There really is. And like the two documentaries, the things that I felt like were crazy, it's like there's so much, like we know obviously like what's being brought to the media and everything, like as far as like the shootings and things like that are catching the media's attention, our president and stuff. But when you really look into it, like today before we recorded, I was at work and I just Googled sex trafficking. And it's crazy how close that is to us. You think about it, you think it's in like London or you think it's in Cambodia. Like there's in Connecticut, this guy's facing 10 years for going online and soliciting and getting teenagers, like 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds to agree to prostitution, thinking that they're going to get like this money. And then they go meet up with this guy and they take them. Like this guy had like 4 different girls and he was making them, he was like, oh, you're old enough, you're 16, you're old enough. And he would just rape them like repeatedly until their body were used to it. And then they would put them on like, you know that website where you can find like porn, like, I mean, not porn, prostitutes, like the Blacklist or something like that. It's called like, Black Page. There's a website where like prostitutes post so that you can go online and like it'll say like Springfield, Holyoke, like people selling sex. So these guys are posting these 16-year-olds who originally agreed to the prostitution, and then they're like, okay, this isn't what I signed up for. So they try to get out of it, but they can't. So they're posting their ads, and these grown men are coming and like having, these girls had to sleep with like 30 to 50 men a night. And this is things that are going on in our area.
And then there's also people that didn't agree to it, were just kidnapped and forced into it. So like, I don't know. There's some people that might get themselves into something that they didn't know what they was getting themselves into, and there's certain people that's like forced into it. It's like either go into it or we're gonna kill you. So
yeah, the documentary I was watching in Cambodia, and it's funny because the person, my best friend Justin, he was actually gonna come on and speak, you guys, but his sister lives in Cambodia and she moved out there like I want to say 2 years ago, but she's opening up like a tea shop and she's saving girls who are victims of sex trafficking. But the documentary I was watching, it was crazy because this girl admitted, like one girl, she just had a baby and her aunt was like, okay, I set you up with this job, but she really sold her niece to the sex trafficker, like this pimp. And so when she got there, the guy had pictures with her son, like her newborn son, with guns to his head, and he was like, either we're gonna kill your son or you're gonna become our sex slave. And so they would get them ready, and in these states, you can become a legal prostitute. So pimps would literally walk them in to get their prostitution certificate or whatever, license, whatever the hell it's called, so that they could legally pimp these girls out. But they beat them. They're like, they don't get no money. They don't get the chance to leave. And a lot of, like, she met up with this guy who was an actual like person who bought sex from one of these girls, and she was like, do you know whether or not it's against their will? He was like, that's not my job. I pay for the sex, they give me the sex. After that, I don't know where the money goes, I don't know who it goes to, but that's not my problem.
That's crazy, honestly. But I mean, if you gotta think about it, if somebody's sitting here paying for sex, I don't think their morals is that they really don't care. Like, either
like,
way,
all
like
that up there,
like, if you really have to go that low to pay somebody to fuck you, like, I mean,
I feel like a lot of people, like, I know, I'm not even about to say no names, but I know a couple of y'all motherfuckers up in the Springfield 413 that done went to the black page and done paid for some sex. Like, some of y'all not as low as y'all think, because I see some screenshots. Like,
what?
No, for real. For real. Mundi knows. Well, Mundi did it, but wait. Of some people.
Wait.
Y'all in the 413 are not low. Listen, I'm telling you guys, the likes are not traced. We can't tell who liked the video, so if you pay for some sex, you better thumbs up this video. Because no, that's not even, it's not funny, but I mean, people really will sit here and, like, guys will sit here and trash talk prostitutes, but will pay for sex.
I mean, if we want to be completely honest, there's a lot of ways people pay for sex. Like that's not, it's like, okay, yeah, I might not be paying a prostitute, but I might sit here and take you out on dates and pay for your, like,
little sugar
bills. And it's like, of course I'm only doing this in the intent to hopefully to fuck you. So it's like,
yeah,
I mean, people pay for sex all the time. Or people put fake energy into shit just to get sex. So I mean, people pay for sex all the time, just with different words of currency, I guess you could say.
So when I was watching the documentary or whatever, she had went up to this pimp, and this was in Cambodia. She was like, so what makes you a pimp? Like, what is the quality of a pimp? And he was like, ruthless. He was like, when I'm looking for somebody to pimp out, I'm not looking for the girl with the nice body, the big ass. I'm not looking for the cutest girl. Like, I'm going to look for somebody who's weak that I could easily manipulate, because in 1 to 2 days, I'm going to have her pimped out and on the street. And then she was like, so you, like, they can't leave, they can't do anything. Like, she was like, would you let your ATM card, like your debit card, just walk the streets? Would you just lay it there? He was like, hell no, that's my money, that's my ATM. And then she was like, so what about the police? Like, you're not afraid? And he was like, pimps pay the police. Like, that's the thing. He was like, y'all think this justice system is protecting you. Pimps pay the police. Like, that's where they really get their money. So it's just crazy, because the government be behind, not the government, but, like, the justice system is behind all of this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we've been saying there's a lot of crooked cops for forever, so I mean, it's nothing new. But I was watching this documentary the other day about India, and how, like, there's a lot of people who, like, give up their organs in India, like kidneys and stuff like that. And I think they was getting paid $180 for a kidney, and I just feel like $180 for my kidney? You got me. No, I need more money than that if I'm gonna give up a kidney. But, like, I guess
in Kenya they sell them. I was looking online, the same thing. They sell them for like $650. You go order a kidney.
I guess there's a lot of people that are poor and, like, owe money and have no way of paying off their debt. A lot of people are in debt, so it's like they have no way to pay off it. But there's literally a person that goes around and looks for healthy people and be like, oh, you want to sell your kidney or da-da-da. And then they'll go and get them blood work done to make sure they're healthy. And then they go have the surgery and sell their kidney. And I just feel like that's so messed up that a person has to feel like the only way I can make some type of money and get out of debt is to sell my own kidney. Like, that's just... And there's literally people that go around and prey on your weakness. Like, I know you need money, so let me get you this. Like, you know what I mean? Because, like, any other circumstance, nobody wants to sit here and sell their kidney.
But there's also people that do that, but they're not doing it the right way. They're not making sure these people are healthy. Like, in other countries, they're literally, like, forcing people to give up their kidneys.
Yeah.
And they're not even healthy. Like, and then they're flipping it and selling it to somebody who really needs that kidney. I don't know. It's crazy.
I also feel like there's certain people who are literally killed just to harvest their organs, which is really crazy. Like that's.
Oh, you know how you get like on your thing, it's like organ donor, like on your driver's license.
Yeah.
Are you an organ donor?
No.
You know what's crazy is I got my license, so I'm over here like, ooh, an organ donor, like, yeah, I'm gonna save somebody's life, like, whatever. But then the more I heard about it, like, I've heard, like, theories that if you're dying in an ambulance, like, and they need like, a heart or something, they're gonna try less to, like, save your life. If they see that you're an organ
honestly,
donor.
I always feel that way. And honestly, me personally, I've just heard a lot of things about, like, especially black people. Like, they want black people organs because, like, we're kind of, I mean, I'm not saying we're superior to white people, but, like, we have a lot of good, strong genes. And, like, you know, I mean, if you ever watch Get Out, like, that's just, like, a perfect example. Like, that's a perfect example of, like, I don't know how to explain it, but, like, black people's, like, organs and stuff like that are very important to white people, in a sense. And it's, like, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of black people who are killed, like, for their organs. And that's another part of the black market that's just, like, so low that a lot of people don't know about it.
People don't realize that. Like, this is kind of off topic, but really quick. Do you know Jehovah's Witnesses? I never knew this until I was watching a show like Grey's Anatomy. I never knew they will not take, like, organs or blood from other people. Like, if they're in the hospital and they need a blood transplant or transfusion, they do not take blood. They will not take blood from other people.
I've never heard of that, and my cousin said Jehovah's Witness. I've never heard of that.
Yeah. I mean, it was on Grey's Anatomy, so it's not all that. True.
I don't know.
Well, there was a case in Missouri, actually, like, going back to the sex trafficking. In Missouri, this mother, her daughter, like, this is so twisted. It's just crazy to see, like, you don't hear about this stuff in the news. You hear about all these shootings, and don't get it wrong, that's messed up, and it's horrible. But these things that people are getting away with, like sex trafficking, like, this mother and her boyfriend, her daughter was 15 years old, had cerebral palsy, she had braces on her legs, and she was listing her and selling her for sex. Like, having dudes come to the house and paying her with either money or drugs so that they can sexually abuse her daughter. And so finally, like, there's people that go on and, like, obviously, like, undercover detectives and they traced it back to her. So she's facing, like, her and her boyfriend are facing time. She even let her boyfriend, like, it's crazy. Like, you don't hear about these stories, and these stories are important too.
There's also people that sell, like, their children, like, sell 5-year-olds.
I was going to talk about that because you had brought that up, and one of the documentaries was basically about child adoption. And, like, some of these parents in these countries, like, yeah, there are parents who sell their kids freely, but some of these, it's so twisted that, like, right now I've seen it was like 250 kids from other countries who are legally adopted in the U.S., but the countries are investigating it because these agencies that these parents in the U.S. are paying hundreds and thousands of dollars for a month are really not even putting the money towards fostering the children. So these parents think that they're giving up their kids and, like, to get a better education in the U.S., and then when they're 17, 18, they're going to return. So this lady went to her and she was just like, do you know what it means to give your kid up for adoption? And they're like, they explain it the way they think because that's what these people get paid, like $1,500, $2,000 for, to go to these parents with these kids that these American families are looking for. Like, American families will be like, oh, I want a 6-year-old boy, healthy, like, so they'll look for families that are, like, struggling in their area and tell them, oh, they'll be back when they're 18 here, sign the documentation, and they sign it and they give up all their rights. So they're tricked into signing it thinking that their kids are promised a better life growing up, but that when they're 17 or 18, they'll have the chance to come back and be with their parents. Like, their parents still think they have all rights on their kids. And these people are paid to go out. And, like, this one lady in Washington did an interview on it. And she was like, when I, after 3 years, finally got, like, my son and my daughter, whom I adopted, the boy was 2 years older than what they had said in the documents. And the whole time that she was paying all these hundreds of dollars to another country to think that her son was being in an orphanage, he was still with the mother the whole time. Like, the whole time, he remembered who his mother was. He had pictures, and she didn't know until he got into the U.S. And now, like, not to say she's stuck with the kid because she still wants him, she still loves him, but it's not what it's cracked up to be. Like, adopting kids from, like, Africa, Haiti.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know there's also people who adopt kids and then put them in like sex work. Also, like there's like you have to watch out. There's a lot of people that, because I mean, at the end of the day, as sick as it is, kid pornography is also a big it makes money. Like it makes money. As much as you think, oh, whatever, like that's something that happens on a daily. So it's like there's a lot of people that's like, oh, take these young kids that their parents don't want them and just whoop.
Yeah.
And you know, and a lot of people would not know about that. Like, also, I was watching this documentary like a couple months ago. I think it was in Greece. I think it's some other country. But I can't think of the other country's name. But one is like more poor than the other. And there's like women that will literally sell their babies to the people in Greece because I guess their adoption thing is like it's like it takes a long time to like process and stuff, or it takes like a lot of stuff to go through, so people just find it easier to adopt kids from other countries. And there was like a lot of women just like having babies just to sell them away, like, and I'm just like I can't think of like the only reason I'm getting pregnant is just to sell my baby away, like I can't, that mindset, like I can't, like you don't have no emotional connection to your own child, like I don't know, there's a lot of people that would do crazy things just to make money, like.
And that's the thing is like you have these people out here who will literally like get pregnant just to sell their kid versus people who are being tricked into giving their kid a better lifestyle, thinking I mean, granted, it's kind of true, but they give their kid up, and then the reason the adoption process takes 3 to 4 years to get them into the U.S. is because these agencies that the families are paying or think they're paying are really profiting the money and just stretching out how long they can keep the children. Or passing them, like then selling them to this orphanage and then selling them to this orphanage. And there's people that will go around that get paid to kidnap kids at a young age that look like the profile that Americans want. Like, because a lot of like white Americans, like Christians and things like that, they like a lot of people feel like that's God, they're calling from God to like save these kids. It's like a lot of white families want to adopt African kids in Haiti, and so it's a high profile. So they know in those countries, like, oh, this is a high profile, we could get money off of this. So the risk of doing and selling kids illegally doesn't outweigh the profit. And I feel like until, like, that's the whole problem. Like, none of this black market stuff is never going to stop because, the police are in on it. Government's in on it. You can sit here, for example, a gun. You have a felony, you can't buy a gun. But you could sit here legally in New York and just go in, give them your license, as long as you don't got no charges, go buy a gun, and then you could go flip it for 3 times the amount, scratch off the serial number, and give it to a felon. Like, it's so easy nowadays because all of this illegal stuff is making so much profit.
Of course. I also watched this documentary also. It just came back to me. It was some state in the South. It was probably like Alabama or something. And it was this black man on this old plantation. And basically he was like a slave. And this was like, I think the documentary was like either in 2018 or 2017. So basically he was basically a slave because...
Wait, where was it again?
It was some state in the South. I think it was Alabama, but I'm not completely sure. So basically this black man, like his ancestors were slaves to the person that he was living. So it was like an old plantation, right? Owned by this white family. And their ancestors owned the plantation. So it's like passed down through generations. And there was this black man that was living on it, and his ancestors were past slaves on the plantation. And he stayed there because, like, he's like, oh, this is all I know, da-da-da. And basically, he just worked the plantation. Like, he didn't pay bills to live there, but his whole thing was just to grow the stuff and it's like, that's kind of like a new day slavery. Like, you know what I mean? Like, okay, you might not have to pay to live here, but basically you're basically slave. And he's like, oh, I can leave if I want to, but I grew up on here, like, this is all I know. And I'm just like, yo, to think that that's still happening. And he's just so like
doesn't see,
like, he doesn't see, like, you're basically a slave kind of by choice, but basically, like, you're mentally a slave.
And the thing is those people that are having him there, they still are kind of, in a sense, like, just like their ancestors, like people who did have slaves. Like, granted, they may treat him right, they may not be sitting here beating him or anything.
And I wish I had watched that not too long ago, because I have a faint memory of it. But they was interviewing the white family, and they was like, yeah, he's like family. But in the same breath, they were saying really, like, problematic stuff. Where it's just like, you do not view him as family.
But what was that movie with what? Was it for? I don't think it was for colored girls. What was it where they had, like, oh my god, she was writing like a book. Like, the white lady was writing the book about, oh my god, the nannies. Like, these white families would have like black nannies.
Shoot. And she, like, yeah, I know.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
The Help.
Is it The Help?
Is it?
And she, like, the girl, like, loved her nanny. Like, the little girl, like, grew up loving her nanny.
You remember they baked a pie?
Yeah.
For the lady?
And she was writing a book on it and wanted to get all of them.
I'm pretty sure it's called The Help.
But it was just crazy because the white family, like, treated these nannies so good and, like, part of the family, but they were still treated like slaves. Like, they weren't.
Yeah, it's called The Help.
Yeah. She wasn't being beat or anything. She wasn't being abused, but, like,
I mean, I feel like that goes back to, like, a long time, like, in history, was, like, literally there was black slaves raising the children of the slave masters. So it's like, yeah, you see us as a mother figure, but you still know you're better than us, or you view yourself as better than, like, you know what I mean? It's like,
or even, like, nowadays, like, I feel like there's probably, like, I guarantee there's still people out there, like, who are looking for nannies, like, white families that looking for nannies, and specifically probably hire black women.
You know, today, I wouldn't say black women, I would say Mexican women. Immigrants.
Really?
Yes. That's a big, that's a big market for immigrants to be nannies, because they don't have, because it's like, it's illegal. Like, they don't have to sign any really paperwork. Like, you know what I mean? It's like under the table type of work. So that's also a big thing. A lot of immigrants, because they can't find work. But
yeah. Man, it's just so twisted. It's crazy to... Hell no. I just got my nails done, and I just bit it.
What?
I need to stop biting down on my nails, because I swear if this bad boy cracks, I'm gonna be mad.
No, I bite my nails too.
No, but I just it just cracked. Anyways. My bad, guys. You guys know that feeling when you get your nails done, and I don't know, I have a tendency to put my hands in my mouth, so I chew on my nails when they're longer. But I don't know, it's just crazy the amount of things that are like, and for example, like, I don't know, like, I just feel like it's being controlled as to what we see on the news and what is spoken about, because, like, you hear, like, these, was it you that had said that, like, the shootings are kind of, like, planned? So, yeah, like, at the time of, like, elections or things like that. Because, it's like, I never thought about it, because even when you spoke about it in the last episode, and I kind of was like, well, I don't feel that way. But now I'm kind of, like, thinking, because it's like, you always hear about the shootings. Even if it's the smallest one, you always hear about it. You always hear about what Trump did wrong. But, like, literally, the fact that in Connecticut, in March of this year, this guy is being arrested for sex trafficking little girls, and we do not hear about it. That's not anything that you're seeing on Facebook. It's not anything that you're hearing on YouTube, on the news. Like, because it's like these, I bet you when they look into it, they realize that the cops were paid off. Like, people were being paid off. Like, the city protection was probably being paid. Like, there were probably mad tips that were put in that nobody did anything for. So they don't want to expose it. So that's not brought to the news. That's not brought to social media. But it's like, all it took was me putting in sex trafficking, and it pops up. Connecticut, Missouri, like, mad stuff. It's just like, how is there so much stuff available on the first page of Google, but yet within 4 months I have not heard about any of this stuff? But the moment, within hours of something happening with Trump or whatever the case is, even, like, the smallest things, like, it's blown up on social media.
At the end of the day, news is all... Each news outlet has a plan. They have people that...
they're targeting.
So Fox is usually Republicans. And a lot of racists love Fox News, because their views are very racist. And then... how should I explain it? Like, they use the news as fear tactics, like, to constantly keep people in fear. So whenever something happens with shootings, oh, we're gonna show you stuff like that.
Yeah.
But sex trafficking is not something people fear. Like, you know what I mean? So it doesn't play into what they need. Because at the end of the day, a lot of times they keep you like you'll learn about stuff that's like, how should I say, like, yeah, I'm losing what I'm trying to say. Like, they'll show you stuff that's like important, but at the same time it's just like trying to distract you from what's really going on.
I just think that's, like, me personally, I just think that's twisted. At the end of the day, like, you're having 15, 16-year-old girls without their will, freaking 30 miles away from us, getting taken, getting raped, not being able to go back to their family, and being sold for sex, and you don't think that that's relevant enough? Like, I don't think that's okay. You can't, I don't think that's fair for you to determine whether or not me as, like, a citizen think, like, do you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I get it. But also, you have to think, like,
I feel like they're trying to protect.
But you also gotta think, like, at the end of the day, it's news networks is all about views. It's a business at the end of the day, so they want views. And as sad as it sounds, like,
people think of prostitutes, they just think of prostitutes, to be honest, I feel
like. No, but as sad as it sounds, like, hearing about a little girl getting raped does not have the same value as hearing about a mass shooting. Only for the fact,
need to shed light on that. That's the problem.
Only for the fact that, like, mass shootings, when we think of that, we think like, yo, that could have been me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like it touches you more than a little girl, because it's like you're far removed.
I mean, I feel like that also, but I also feel like it's because of the amount of information that is shed to it. Because, yeah, you hear of a mass shooting off rip, that's tragic. Off rip, that's tragic. You hear a shooting in a school, in a hospital, in a mall, whatever, that's tragic. But you hear somebody, guy got arrested for prostituting 17-year-old. A lot of people are so simple-minded or so judgmental that they think, oh, that girl's a runaway. That girl's like this, like, so it doesn't hit them as more. But when you really do the research into it, like, a lot of these cases, these girls are being fooled by their parents. And so people sweep it under the rug, the media, the police, everybody sweeps it under the rug. But if you looked a little further into it, you should really be going after this girl's parents too, because their parents are giving these 16, 17-year-olds up.
Wait, so then...
Ew, why are you smiling at me?
No, because I know...
You know you're missing an earring?
Yeah, I know. I'm missing my nose ring too.
Me too.
But, so, what do you say about people, like... You heard about, like, the R. Kelly situations about, like, the girls and... Mm-hmm. Do you know about...
Not in depth.
So, basically, there's, like a family came out maybe a couple months ago, maybe a year ago, mm-hmm. saying that R. Kelly's, like, having our daughter as a hostage, or, like, he's not letting her go, along with other women who basically live in his house, and they are basically his sex slaves, basically. And they're like, we sent our daughter to R. Kelly to help her out with her music career, and it turned out to him basically taking advantage of her and, like, her becoming one of his sex slaves. But she's of age. Mm-hmm. And she's also came out in videos saying, like, oh, like, I could leave if I want. Like, I want to be here. But the thing is, like, R. Kelly kind of knew her since, like, before she was of age. And they're saying, like, R. Kelly basically picks out young girls that usually want to be in the business. And he basically gets into their head. Mm-hmm. So it's like, so you brainwashes them. Yeah, it's like I'm not gonna force you to be my sex slave, but I'm gonna break you down mentally mm-hmm. to where you're willingly to be my sex slave. You mm-hmm. know what I mean? So, like, he does it with girls at young ages, and then once they become of age, he's like, hey, come live with me. Yeah. So basically, it's legal.
They already got, like, this love for him. They look up to him. They admire him. To be honest, first things first, I love R. Kelly. I love his work. I think he's very talented as an entertainer. But I don't care how famous you are, how much money you got, wrong is wrong. I don't think you should manipulate anybody to a point where, like, because my thing is like, there's a difference between when you're strong enough in the beginning to be like, okay, I'm like, you have a right mindset to be like, all right, I'm not doing this no more, I'm out, versus when you're manipulated. Because then you can't determine right from wrong. You can't determine, okay, I'm strong enough to leave today versus, okay, I really want to stay here. Like, your head is fucked up. So taking advantage of somebody like that is wrong, regardless if you're R. Kelly or if you're the next door neighbor. Like, it's wrong, regardless.
I watched this documentary about R. Kelly and all all the stuff that like they be saying about him.
Like people like to justice him because he's R. Kelly, and that's not right.
Yeah, and I like there was like this one guy that was going around Chicago talking to like mad girls, like older girls.
Mm-hmm.
But they were saying like when we were in high school, like there was a thing where it's just like, oh, I met R. Kelly and we had sex. Like girls in high school were like having sex with R. Kelly on a regular.
Celebrities in general.
No, but he would literally park outside, like after school, park outside of the high schools and hit on girls when he's like 30 years old outside of the high school, and he would do this like regularly. Like it was a thing where it's just like, oh, did you sleep with R. Kelly yet? Oh no, girl, I did. Like it was literally like a regular thing, and I just find that really creepy. Like
it is creepy, and it's like the thing that gets confusing is I feel like things like that should be held accountable to a certain extent. Now, going back to what you were saying about these girls, like being able, like you having the right to leave, like whether it's R. Kelly or it's your man, like manipulating you to stay in the situation. There's only so much that he could be held accountable for, I feel like. Like, don't get it wrong. It's wrong that you manipulated these girls. But at the end of the day, if these girls can leave at any moment, if you're not holding them captive, if you're not chaining them to a wall, then like...
I don't know about that either. That's what they're saying.
Because you can't be put to fear to say something like that.
Like, that's what they're saying, but who knows? Because I also heard that each girl lives in a separate room. You have to actually use the bathroom. Like,
but that's also like for example, that's also there's people who get off on that, like 50 Shades of Grey. Like there's people who like to be like the what is it called, like the submissive versus the dominant person. And some guys really like sit here and agree with their women or whatever the case is. Like 50 Shades of Grey. Like you have your room. You ask me permission. You call me by sir. Yes, sir. No, sir. You can leave at any time that you would like. But some people really have those rules. Like, to where it's like, I'm not going to rape you. And at any moment, if you want to stop, you could tell me to stop. But this is where you're going to sleep. You ask me permission. At any moment you want to leave, you could leave. So it's kind of like, it's not right. But what can you possibly get charged with? You're not holding them captive. You're not, I'm speaking in general, if this was the case, you're not holding them captive, you're not raping them, you're not holding them against their will, you don't got a gun to their head. So in reality, it's fucked up because you manipulated them, but what can you really be charged with? Manipulation is not a crime.
It's not, but it's also like, that's the same thing with saying black marketing, like, oh, so he didn't rape her, like he just manipulated her.
But I feel like the black market is more so like, these people who... No, I guess there's like different.
There's a lot of
there
like
is.
There's like, don't get me wrong. There's cases where like girls are raped.
Yeah, you're
there's
right.
cases where girls are, kidnapped.
But sex trafficking is illegal. So when you're selling somebody for sex in the states where you cannot become a legal if somebody's being a prostitute on their own, okay. But sex trafficking is illegal. So I mean, granted. You may be sitting here saying you could leave at any time or I'm not going to rape you, but you're still selling this woman for sex, which is still sex trafficking versus, not saying it's right, I don't agree with any of it, versus somebody who manipulated you against your will to stay here and you're freely doing it. You're freely agreeing to this stuff.
I mean, who knows?
We don't. That's the thing.
Because at the end of the day, I don't have to physically hurt you for you to be in fear.
In fear. Oh, no.
Like,
because a lot of these girls, like, they said...
So it doesn't mean you're here by your will. It just means that you're that scared of me or scared of what the consequences would be if I left to keep you here.
Like what I said about the pimp, where he was like, I can easily manipulate them. Like, and the girl had said, what did she say? Oh, my God, I just had it and it just left my mind. He was like, if you're a good pimp, you don't gotta go out and take girls, and you don't gotta go out and do anything illegally. If you're a good pimp, them girls are gonna listen to you. Like, them girls are really gonna sit here and just do what you say, so that if it does come back on you, I didn't hold her against her will, but they're so afraid and they're so manipulated that they think that that's where they have to stay.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's crazy, but Bree, what you think? What's your final thoughts? Guys, let us know real quick what videos you want us to do. Like, comment below. We definitely want to get, like, the feedback going. We're definitely going to be working on that Wilding Out with the podcast. We got a couple. Bree brought a couple good topics to, like, we got a little topic board,
I would say my final thoughts is, if you want anything in this world, all you have to do is go to the black market, honestly. You can find anything on there.
And don't be twisted, because some people selling freaking rhino horns and telling you it cures cancer.
Oh, wait.
You saw that?
Wait. So I was on YouTube, and there's like this girl that talks about like celebrity gossip and stuff like that I watched. You know, Black China's mom literally was on IG Live, and she had like a wet wipe or whatever, and she wiped her vagina. It was like, who wants to buy it? I was like, yo! She's a hustler. She's like, who wanna buy it? Like, literally, I'm telling you, if you want anything in this world, you can get it.
But what are you doing with that?
Like,
what am I doing with that?
Have you seen Black China's mom? Who's buying that? Like,
I wouldn't even buy it from Black China. Like,
no, if it was Kim Kardashian, there might be some people buying it.
No,
there might be. But Black China mom is such an old ass.
I'm about to start selling my paint. Listen, stop playing. I didn't know there was a market for that now.
Like I said, if you want anything in this world, all you gotta do is search for it.
Whoa, guys, we about to leave some links down below. We're gonna find that link where you can buy Black China's mom's vagina rag. Link that down below for you. Thumbs down this video if...
What? No.
No negativity. Chill out. I would say my final thoughts are everybody just be safe, and definitely don't be blinded by...
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
But you said be safe. I feel like there's a lot of... You can even go on Craigslist and look at posts, and it's basically a trap to get people into sex trafficking. Like,
oh yeah,
there's a lot of things that, like, if it don't sound right, don't go for it.
Don't do it. No, for real. And yeah, be safe. There's a lot of people out there finding a way to get in your head. So, and especially, like, there's a lot of men out here, ladies, that will sit here and really think you wifed up for a couple months, and then next thing you know, you pimped out. So always be careful, you know, and don't let the government, social media fool you onto what's really going on in this world. Take a couple minutes to watch your children, hide your kids, hide your wife. But in reality, take a couple minutes out to just look into what's going on in your world, because it's not just your city, it's not just your area code, it's not just your zip code. We live in a whole world where shit is twisted, and the black market is no game. So yes, guys, it's the podcast.
It's the let out.
It's the let out. Episode 4.
Alright, you tried too hard with that one.
Cuatro!
No, you tried too hard. It's episode 4.
How do you say episode in Spanish? Episoda 4. Episoda 4. Una de subscribe below.
We just lost a couple subscribers.
Imagine Laura Leas. Alright, guys, we'll catch you guys on episode 5. Let us know what you want to talk about. But yeah, remember to subscribe, rate, comment, share. Let us know.
Follow us on social media.
For real. I feel like my followers haven't gone up on nothing.
No, for real. Like, what y'all doing?
Like, y'all just waiting for us to post stuff. Have some say-so. Use your voice. That's what I tell my daughter all the time. Use your voice. But follow us, guys. We're definitely looking forward to growing with you guys, and we'll check you on the next video. Y'all, Bree trying to say bye right now.
I had no voice. Bye.
Bye, guys.